Today's video is brought to you by Sleeper. So you think you know football, huh? Okay, let's turn your football knowledge into real money. Download the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players. With more stats than any other daily fantasy app, just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live stats. Pick more or less from predicted stats and you can win up to 1,000 times your money if your pick wins. So use the promo code CFO and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. So download Sleeper now and let's get this money, gang. What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck, and we are gearing up for week 3 of the NFL season. Crazy to think that we're talking about week 3 already. Seems like yesterday we was getting ready for week 1, but I have to talk about a situation, and that is my Dallas Cowboys. Now, for those of you who might be new to the channel, I am a Cowboys guy, but I do break down all NFL teams. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel. You are safe with me. But I want to talk about one of the most exciting acquisitions that the Dallas Cowboys acquired this offseason, and George Pickens. We know who George Pickens was in Pittsburgh. Phenomenal talent. I loved him out of the University of Georgia. Played well for the Steelers, but there were some other issues circulating, what led the Pittsburgh Steelers to eventually trade him to the Dallas Cowboys. And when you add him with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, you have to start thinking that, this offense could be scary good when you have this weaponry. And right now, Dak Prescott, love him or hate him, is playing at a high level, MVP caliber level, but hopefully that will continue. But I think there's a lot of things that when it comes to George Pickens, I'm loving what I'm seeing, what I think is going to be fixable. But I also think the Dallas Cowboys can actually utilize a lot more in Brian Schottenheimer's offense. So let's go ahead and get into the lab. All right, y'all. So let's talk about George Pickens' game versus the New York Giants. The G-Man overall had a good second week, right? You see the penalties, you see the explosion, you see a lot of things that got Cowboys fans excited when we acquired George Pickens. And on his very first play, you're going to notice, right? You're going to have CeeDee Lamb go into motion. The corner is going to mirror out with CeeDee. So you'll see there CeeDee Lamb going out to motion. So this should give the symbol for Dak Prescott, like, they are a man. And you'll see George Pickens, you have him lined up down here at the bottom, one-on-one coverage. And anytime you see one-on-one coverage with George Pickens or with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott should be licking his chops. Now, if you look at the defense that the Giants are running, they have what we call middle field close, just a single high. So for Dak Prescott, you really have your pick. You can either take your shot over here with George Pickens, or you can take your shot over here with CeeDee Lamb. And it's all going to be depending on which way this safety starts to roll, okay? Now, if you look at this play kind of in slow-mo, right? When we're watching George Pickens as a wide receiver, we want to focus on his release, meaning what is he doing in the first 5 yards, all right? I don't want you guys to focus on, is he doing a diamond step and all that cute stuff, a split step, all the fun stuff you see on the Instagram reels, right? I just want to focus on his release in the first 5 yards. So as of right now, he has man coverage. Now, a lot of people think when you see man coverage or man press coverage, it has to be a jam. Just because this corner is up, he doesn't have to jam. Sometimes he could press and bail, right? It means he can show that he's going to be up pressing and can bail. He can do a one-hand jam, a two-hand jam. It varies, right? So don't think just because you're seeing a corner pressed up that they're going to jam George Pickens. So on this very first play right here, let's watch George Pickens in his first 5 yards. Okay, good release. And now you see this corner is giving him the outside release, right? You're giving him the outside release. Now, this safety does a good job of not showing his tail because he's still moving straight back, right? So he's not sliding this way or sliding this way. So Dak is still reading the safety and he's not giving him much. So Dak in the back of his mind is thinking, okay, I'm going to hold this safety in the middle of the field and I'm going to take my shot with George Pickens, all right? So George Pickens does a good job with the outside release. Ball slightly underthrown, and this safety does an incredible job getting over to help over the top. Now, here is where I'll critique George Pickens. Just a little bit, bro. Come back towards it. You have to high point the ball, right? Even though this ball pretty much hits this corner in the back of the helmet right here, all right? Go high point, because even if you press back into this corner and he doesn't get his head around, George Pickens has already shown he's done an incredible job of getting those PIs, right? Go up, high point the ball, and go into this corner. This could have possibly been a penalty, but George Pickens doesn't do it, right? And ultimately, it could have been an interception, but luckily it wasn't, right? But overall, good outside release. This is what's going to make George Pickens dangerous. Now you got to go up and get it. Go up and get it and make something happen, right? Now, on this play right here, you'll see George Pickens located at the bottom of the screen. Now, you're going to see traditional jam coverage, right? It's going to be a two-hand jam. Boom, physicality right there, all right? Now, this is what I love about George Pickens, his play strength. A lot of people talk about, strength in the weight room and all, right? Can you move another man off you? That's what matters the most at the NFL level. So he's able to play strong, play through contact, get this corner's hands detached right there. Boom. Catch the slant. That's easy money. And this, Brian Schottenheimer, is what we should see a lot more. I know the deep shot to George Pickens is excited, right? He can catch the one-hand catches and all that glitz and glamour, right? But these are easy button throws, and we'll talk about that as we dive deeper into the film, that you can do for George Pickens all day and keep the chains moving, or the virtual chains moving, in this Dallas Cowboys offense. So, like I said, George Pickens has good ability to be able to fight through contact and secure the catch. He has strong hands, very strong hands, right? Now, on this play right here, okay? Now, this is kind of a corner route. Now, I'll say this, right? You have George Pickens located up top here. This is where George, self-admittedly, he needs to get a little bit better, right? In his route tree, also his stem, right? So when you talk about the route tree, this part of the tree, that's your stem, okay? The branches, depending on, whatever route you're running, right? You know what I'm saying? There's all sorts of stuff you can get at the NFL level, right? Those are the branches. So when I talk about inside his stem, this is what I mean, right? So I think that where George Pickens can really improve is inside his stem. At the breaking point, he's perfectly fine, right? But you see this corner right here, he's playing off of Pickens already, all right? So Pickens is trying to sell him that he's coming inside right here, okay? So now he's taking this step like he's coming inside, but this corner still isn't biting on this move, right? This little nod that he's giving inside this route. And honestly, he's still on it because he didn't even open this corner up. So he was like, yeah, right, bro. So when you watch him at full speed, there's a lot of extra steps. It's not as precise. And there's a few guys at the NFL level that can run crisp, precise routes. Like Amari Cooper was one, Keenan Allen. So just key, right, to be able to sell this inside move to get to this corner route, right? But ultimately he didn't, so the corner's able to play good defense. So if there's anywhere as far as a route runner, I would say George Pickens needs to improve is during his stem, those little subtle steps, anchoring down, right? But overall, good coverage from the corner there. All right. Next play. This is what I'm talking about. All day, every day for Cowboys Nation. Easy money throws. Anytime you get space, you should be able to eat with George Pickens. And you'll see that here just on this quick slant. Boom. Fighting through contact. You'll see this corner's hands on Pickens. It doesn't matter, right? He plays strong. He plays physical. For Cowboys fans out there, think of the Michael Gallup route tree, right? The slants, hitches, drags, and you can always stem, right, and get on top of corners and take the deep shot every now and then, but it shouldn't be something that you're relying so heavily on. Easy money, easy button throws for first downs. George Pickens and the volume should pick up drastically, especially with him getting one-on-one coverage. You'll see that demonstrated once again in this play right here, all right? Boom, easy money throws for Dak Prescott. Even with the corner pressed up, one-hand jam, all right, doesn't matter. Get off of him. Secures the catch. First down, you look at the yard marker, it's right here. Boom, all right. First down, easy money throws for Dak Prescott to George Pickens. I think we will see this ramped up for all the Cowboys Nation out there because it's hard to bypass because there's not a lot of corners that could line up and really match George Pickens physically. And what's going to happen is when you start taking these throws, that's when those double moves are will start to open up for you. All right. Now, on this channel, we just don't talk about all the positives. There's some negatives or some areas of improvement, specifically when it comes to the Cowboys, right? We definitely want to find those areas. George Pickens, I need more consistency and run blocking, bro. What are we doing out here? We're kind of lollygagging, right? This is kind of stuff that coach would get on. Touch somebody, reach out and you got to touch somebody, bro. So you're out there kind of lollygagging, right? And I typically don't mind wide receivers taking a break when it's a backside, run block like CeeDee Lamb, right? The ball's not coming his way. Javonte Williams is coming this way. But when you are front side, George, you got to get active and touch somebody, right? CeeDee Lamb can maybe take a few off, you know what I'm saying? But when it's coming your way, you need to touch somebody. And George Pickens on this play, and you see it in other plays as well, kind of just, And I want to compare and contrast, right? Look at a guy like Ryan Flo located down here, right? A guy who's just been activated on the roster, who's hungry for his opportunity. Watch how he blocks. Bam. Right. Good block by Flo right there. And he's off to the next one, right? That's the type of effort you want to see in the run game from George Pickens. We do see flashes of it when it comes to George Pickens, but understand control chaos, right? I get it. Sometimes you see the aggressive play right here. You have George up top, right? And he'll go and just lay somebody out, right? But technique, right? You want controlled chaos on these plays. All right, because now you all wide, you pretty much damn near holding, bro. Like, I get the aggressive nature, but that ain't it, especially when you're wearing a Dallas Cowboys helmet. All right. On this play, it's money time. It's money time. This is when we need George Pickens the most, right? Game on the line, what you're going to do. Now, we thought it was, what I'm saying? But, game on the line, what you're going to do. And this is why we traded for George Pickens, to make big plays in big moments. And so you're going to see this corner have inside leverage on him. And George does a good job right here, planting and cutting. And the thing that made this play incredible from George is he took the proper angle. He's going up this way, right, versus flat. Because if you go flat, it's a possibility he could be short of the pylon, right? So he bends it up just a little bit for Dak Prescott to lead him with this dot. This is a dot, right? So for all you Dak haters out there, this is a dot. And the thing that I love about George Pickens, and some people might not understand this, right? Of course, you want your wide receivers to extend when they're catching the ball, okay, in some cases, right? But in a play like this, if he was to extend out, right, there's a chance this corner can make a play at his wrist, on his hands, and chop that ball away, or just due to his, his motion, that it could just drop out when he's going to the ground, right? So he does a good job of using his body to secure the catch. I know a lot of people criticize like body catchers. One, it depends on coaching, but also it depends on situations, because if you're about to brace yourself for impact, you don't need to be catching away from your body. You need to secure the catch, right? So good play, good recognition from George Pickens on that play right there, all right? Now, when it comes to film, especially for the wide receiver position, I understand what you're doing when the ball comes your way, but what you're doing when the ball is not coming your way and when nobody's looking is just as important. So you'll see George Pickens on his clear out route. And see what you'll see when it comes to Pickens here. He's going to start at the top of the numbers. So when I say the top of the numbers, right, the top of the 30, right, he's going to bend, come out wide to the middle of the numbers of this 40, right? So what he's going to do is really stress this corner, number 21, all right? So now you're hightailing, right? Boom, stressing him, have him turning, running, right? He's hauling, and all you're doing is getting this guy the hell up out of here so this guy right here can make a play, right? And CeeDee Lamb has two people trailing him in man coverage, right? So yeah, all you're doing is clearing out. So good job from George Pickens, is clearing him out and stressing that corner to make him think that he's actually getting the ball. Now, as a possibility, he could have got the ball. I mean, honestly, if Dak probably would have had more time and let this play develop, because there was no safety over top, you probably could have hit him, right? But good job. Those are the things that matters the most, is what are you doing when the ball isn't coming your way? And going back to the Philly game, right? When it comes to Philly, sometimes they would show press and then they would slide off of him and give him space. But once again, like I've been saying all film session, boom, now you're giving them space. Shoddy, yo, this could be smoke screens here. This could be hitches, slants, all of that. Whenever you see these corners giving George Pickens all this space, this is lunch meat, right? This is lunch meat, because he is a good runner after the tackle. You know what I'm saying? Runner after catch, right? So if you come down and give him a smoke screen, you're leaving this corner pretty much one-on-one to have to make a play, and hopefully the safety can not get over there and help on the tackle, right? So whenever you get this look, we need to start eating this up a whole lot more, right? I know a lot of people hate the hitches and the comeback routes, but damn it, you got to use them, right? Especially when you're giving all that space, and you'll see that demonstrated once again up top. Boom. Slant, easy money. Look at all this space that George Pickens is getting up here. Look at all this space. Any of us can go out there and make a catch with all this grass in front of us, right? So when Dak sees this, go out there, eat all day with these slants and quick throws. And then once you get these corners to play up, right, this is when you have fun, and this is when you hit them over the top deep, just like George Pickens is going to do. You're going to have this double crosser, deep crosser with him and CD, and boom, right? Easy money. Now, if Dak would have got more time and wasn't get killed on his blitz, this probably could have been a touchdown, right? So boom, right? Separation. If Dak could have put this ball maybe out here, right, and led him up a little bit, he would have been to the crib, right? But Dak is out here getting killed. But ultimately, good catch from George Pickens, moving up the field for the first down, man. So it's your boy Jay Tuck. Like I said, Cowboys Nation, there's a lot of opportunity for George Pickens out there. I'm excited to see him develop in this Cowboys offense, and Dak Prescott is playing extremely well. Hopefully that will continue, especially this weekend versus the Chicago Bears. So if you love film breakdowns, if you love knowing about your team, whether you're a Cowboys fan, Bucks fan, Bengals fan, you name it, you are in the right spot. So go ahead, smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you do not miss out. I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged. And George Pickens, let's continue to go up. Peace.